I'm coming from Greece and I represent the Eurobank Group. And I'm here not only to celebrate your past, I'm here also to speak about the future and how India and Greece can shape it together. We feel that we can work as a partner and we're going to be your ideal partner as a go-to destination to the Indian investment to Europe. And there are three reasons for that. First, it's the strategic geopolitical position we have. Greece is uniquely positioned in the crossroads of four continents: Europe, Asia, Africa, and Middle East. So we believe that we can be your gateway to the European Union and have a direct access to more than 700 million of consumers. The second is because Greece, after a period of reform and recovery, is growing again with renewed strength in banking sector, strong performance in tourism, shipping, and logistics and technology. We offer stability, opportunity, and openness to foreign investors backed by a government fully committed to business-friendly policies. The third and most important for me is shared cultural values. Greece and India shares more than trade interests. We share civilizational bonds. Both of our nations are heirs to ancient wisdom, a deeply respect to knowledge and science, and a love to art and philosophy. Our societies treasure family, friendship, and hospitality, values that our business relationship, it's not just strategic, but it's also deeply human. So, who is Eurobank? Eurobank is the largest international Greek bank with presence to 5 countries, apart from Greece, at Cyprus, Bulgaria, and also Luxembourg and London for our wealth management and private banking arm. And that's why we believe, as you can see in the map, that we can act as your financial bridge to Europe. We offer a full-fledged of financial services, so we can support your business in terms of project and structure finance. We can support your business in terms of trade finance, and of course, M&A, advisory, execution. And we are very pleased that as a group, we've been distinguished in a number of international awards, and we have also a focus on transaction banking, which is an area that facilitates the business ourselves. Together with ICC, we had the opportunity to set up the ICC Business and Investment Council. This is a platform with the aim to facilitate the business between Indian, Greek, and Cypriot companies. And this is a platform that is live with the support of a number of institutions. Some of them are already here with us: Enterprise Greece, Investor Cyprus, ECG, and we are very happy that we are here together with them. But this is what we have done the last during this year. But what I'm here also today is to tell you that we're going to use technology in order to connect the Indian companies with the Greek and Cypriot companies. And how are we going to do that? We're going to do that with a platform that we call Export Gate. And the platform will be offered to all of you 2 things. It will be act as a knowledge hub and as connectivity hub. More specifically, what you're going to be able to do is you're going to have access to a library of more than 190 countries, and also connectivity and access to connectivity with Greek and Cypriot companies. And today, I'm going to do a very short presentation of how it feels and like. So, on the right side, you see your web address that you can go in and you can start creating your profile, www.exportgateindia. And what is this platform? As I said, it's giving you access to a number of countries, 190 countries all over the world, with information about the geopolitics, about the culture, about the competition that you may face based on your HS codes. You can use your HS code, the trading codes, and based on that, you can see all this information. For example, here, what I have done with a few clicks is I found what is the Greece and India trade relationship, what are the goods that we exchange. The same I have done for Cyprus, Cyprus-India trade relationship. And this is how the site looks. You log in, you create your profile, and then you have access. And I have two examples that I'm going to go very quickly in terms of time, in the interest of time. The first one, let's assume that you are an Indian company that you are exporting. And you log in. The first thing you want to do as a company is to see which countries are relevant to your profile. So with a few clicks, you can choose one of these countries. I've chosen Greece, and you can see what is the environment there, both the business environment and the political environment. Of course, you can go and see what are the trades shows there, so that you can participate. If there are any private or public tenders, and also you can also find information about controls. The shipping companies are required, the certificates companies are required, duties and local taxes. So anything that is important for you to do the exports. So this is the first part. This is what we call the library, the knowledge library part. The second part is the connection. Again, through the sites, you can go, you can create your profile, again, by giving your description, the description of the products and services we offer, you offer, and also with the HS code. And based on that, you create a profile, and then you can search the directory, or you can utilize the matchmaking. This is an AI-enabled algorithm that allows you to link you with Greek and Cypriot companies. So in other words, what I'm showing you is a LinkedIn for trading and international business activity. So this is very quickly the journey of an exporter. Similar is going to be the journey of an importer. Again, you can find market reports. You can find import controls if you want to do imports. You can calculate what will be the cost and the shipping documents for importing. And then you can create, again, a business card. And based on this business card, you can find the counterparties from Greece and Cypriot. So this platform is already live, and the idea is through the ICC to roll it out, and every single of you can join on this platform and start interacting with all of us. Thank you for your time, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you, sir. We wish to strengthen the India-Greece-Cyprus relation. Thank you for being with us here today. We move on to our next session for today, and my colleague Ratish will take over from here. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. So our next session is on AI and cybersecurity and communications. In the current generation, AI and cybersecurity, I don't really know whether they go hand in hand or it goes in the opposite direction. Everybody has their own perspectives. Everybody has got their own views. So what we have done is, just to keep our views very clear, we have curated a small panel of experts from the industry who are going to be speaking upon cybersecurity, AI, and communications. To begin the session, may I please call upon Mr. Amitabh Ray, Chairman of National Expert Committee on Technology and Innovation. He's also the former Managing Director of Ericsson Global Services. He'll be delivering the opening remarks and also setting the theme for the session. Welcome, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody, and it's really a pleasure, an honor for me to invite all of you to join this exciting session. So I represent the technology side of Indian Chamber of Commerce. And I have been sitting here since yesterday and listening to all other sectors talking and discussing about various challenges they have with the current geopolitical scenario and things which are ongoing, right, on a daily basis. And then a lot of people or speakers talked about what are the leverage different countries have over other large economies and things like that. We got to know that, like say China can stop shipping rare earth to a country, and that country, gives certain concession to get the rare earth, right? So what is our leverage? And then we talked about different sectorial themes since morning today. So what India is known for is technology, right? Globally. So that makes this particular session is interesting. So we are the leaders in the world in business, in technology space. So it's my great privilege to welcome you all to this technology session. So we are going to talk about AI, we are going to talk about cybersecurity and many things. I think technology, as you know, has become part of our everyday routine. Even 15, 20 years back, we could live our life without having a WhatsApp on our phone, or without having a smartphone for that matter, without having high-speed data available at our residence. But today, technology has gone inside our house. It is not something we go to office and work on. So India, as I mentioned, driving the technology revolution globally. And two things are becoming interesting. So there is a regular technology focus where we talk about the cloud, and we talk about the different systems which we need to put to run our business. But two things are becoming very, very prominent these days. One is artificial intelligence. And every discussion or every forum, not only in technology space, but in any other business forum you talk, and you will hear that everybody is talking about artificial intelligence or AI. I still firmly believe that we haven't seen even 1% of what AI can do in our daily life, or to our industries. So what is going to happen over the next 5 to 10 years? We'll see a huge growth in this particular space we call artificial intelligence. And one of the theme, we have a wonderful panel over here to discuss about the potential of AI. And one of the theme is AI for good, right? How it can actually change our daily life and make it better. And I can stand here and give you hundreds of examples, starting from in medical system, how AI is going to penetrate that, and how it's going to make the doctor's life simpler, our life simpler. We can talk about in education, how AI is going to help us in providing the education in a much better way with the help of technology. So I will leave those things for the panel. The other interesting part is cybersecurity. I think that is going to be one of the areas where we will all focus over the next few years as well. Because with the quantum computing coming, we see there is a big chance or a risk of getting our accounts and the passwords and things like that compromised very easily, because computer systems are gaining power, and with the quantum computer, it is going to happen. So huge amount of investment is happening, because in our previous two panels, we heard about how much of digital transaction taking place in our daily life. And our banking is based on our mobile or laptop computer these days, and entire country's economy is dependent on the digital infrastructure. Not only our personal banking or our personal password or email and things like that. Think about the grid, power grid, right? If somebody can hack your power grid, can actually create havoc in that country's economy. And now talking about war, we've been through those things just a few months back. And you know that today's war is a major part of it is cyber war, right? So these are very exciting time for our technology sector, and we'll have a wonderful team coming here soon and discussing these things in greater details. So without further delaying, I'd like to again thank all of you to be part of this exciting session, and I hope you will enjoy the remaining session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. That's a great start. To continue, may I please call upon Dr. Ayan Kumar Panja, Senior Research Consultant, IEMA R&D Private Limited. He'll be giving us all.
Very good evening to the August Assembly. So my name is Dr. Ayan Kumar Panja. I'm also an associate professor at IEM College, which is Institute of Engineering and Management, a premier research college in Kolkata. I'm also working as the head of AI and a senior consultant at IEMA Research and Development Private Limited. Now, AI, as we know, all the companies are trying to adopt AI, right? But a very factful figure is 95% have invested in AI, but 71% of the companies are trying to figure out what to do with AI. So it is like we all want to adopt it because we don't want to be left out. That is what is being happening. In case of educational sectors, it is the very same case. We are actually utilizing various GPTs and LLMs for the betterment, for the understandability, but it is in turn actually making the people dull, right? So this is actually happening. This is same case for the research also. The researchers, if you take into consideration, people are uploading the things onto the GPTs directly, and they don't think about the very consequences that actually follows, right? And in the review work also, the people, what they are doing is they are taking into consideration the papers, and they are uploading and just asking the GPTs, please tell me some questions out of which I can ask as the review work. So these are some of the, it can be told as a double-edged sword. So one hand, it is actually cooking the stuff. The other hand, it can burn the cities into ground. It can be a locksmith. It can be a lockpick. So we have to decide what we want to do, right? So various at IMA Research and Development Private Limited, we have invested a lot in AI IoT, and we are doing industrial work where we are actually bringing in products for predictive maintenance, forecasting, and we are doing work with various steel plants and central warehouse corporation, mining industries. We are bringing in products with gas sensors, phosphine sensors, bulker management and all. And we are trying to perform prediction on how the motors will actually behave in the later future through forecasting measures. So this we have been doing for quite some time, and we have been successful and into this various business venture that we have started with. With respect to the educational part, we have actually brought in softwares where we have augmented reality and virtual reality platforms. The virtual reality platforms and augmented reality platforms are actually the softwares are and the applications are available in the Play Stores by the name of IM Robotics and IM this thing, I think the presentation app. So this thing, what we are doing is we are bringing in these all products with the very fact so that the students get benefited in their labs and in their work, where they can actually do various sort of things in their home. So what I wanted to say is, in the present time, the companies are actually investing a lot in GPUs, as we know. Why is it so? Because the AI computation, each and everything is actually done through multiple multiplication and simple addition operations, which can happen in parallel. So these all operations can be done in parallel in small computational cores, which are called CUDA cores, which are available in GPUs. So multiple such GPUs actually cater to the way of weaving AI in a better way, where NVIDIA has done that. And this is another aspect, but in IEMA research and development, we are working through bringing in GPTs which can work locally, and with some small language model and large language models in the interaction. What we are doing is we are bringing in products which can work with less number of GPU computation. So it goes by the name of IMA AI. You can actually search for it. We are bringing in customized GPTs for any home, for any businesses. For those businesses, they can actually upload the data in such a way that the data remains in silo, that is, it doesn't go out into the cloud. So you can have your personalized computation, personalized queries in your own organization rather than querying into the very cloud. So that is just what I wanted to convey for the very fact. And I think the next session will give you more insights, more details into what all are being happening in the very field of AI and cybersecurity. And best wishes to ICC for the centenary year. And thank you all.
Yes, the next session is going to cover a lot. Thank you, Dr. Panja. We actually wanted you also to be a part of that session, but we respect that you have time constraint. But before you go, sir, may I please welcome Mr. Amitabh Ray to felicitate Mr. Dr. Panja. Thank you for your time and coming all the way to be a part of this event. We were supposed to be joined by Mr. Parag Jain Anutia, Principal Secretary, Information Technology, Government of Maharashtra. Unfortunately, he's caught up in the meeting with the CM and he may be slightly delayed today. So in the meanwhile, what we'll do is we'll continue with our panel discussion. We have this panel discussion on accelerating global impact through innovation, collaboration, and sustainable progress. To lead the panel, may I please call upon the moderator, Mr. Manojit Sengupta. So, Mr. Manojit Sengupta is the CEO, Advisory, Delivery Center Head, Industry Lead for Energy, Resources, and Utilities for TCS. Digital and Supply Chain Transformation Lead at ICC, National Technology Expert Committee member as well. To join him, we'll have Mr. Alak Verma. Sir. Mr. Alak Verma is the CEO, B-Centric AI Solutions. Thank you for joining us all the way from California. With them, we'll have Mr. Sujit Nair, Director, Solutions Engineering of India from Viz.io. All the way from Cyprus, we have Mr. Dimitris Koridis, Chief Scientist for Research, Innovation, and Technology of the Republic of Cyprus. Balash? Okay, he must be heavily networking outside. We'll check on him quickly. In the meanwhile, can I please call upon Mr. Devesh Gohil, co-founder, Kalimera AI. And lastly, we'll have our co-chair for National Committee on Technology and Communication, Mr. Raj Jain. Mr. Raj Jain is also the CMD of RS Software. Mr. Jain is wishing good luck as if we are entering a war with AI and cybersecurity. Great. Mr. Sengupta, I'll let you start the panel. In the meanwhile, I'll hunt Mr. Dimitris and be after you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. And good afternoon to the panelists. We have a very highly esteemed members to this panel. Now, the topic, I think Mr. Ray has already introduced, AI, cybersecurity. I will probably, before I get into the questions, will set some context by pulling out few scenarios, okay? The way AI, cybersecurity, so-called guardrails, has taken the space in our life. You get into social media, you get into print media. There is multiple instances where we talk about AI and the impact of AI. In ET, you see the good, bad, and ugly side of AI cybersecurity as well. Okay. Now, the second thing is the previous panels, the CEO panel, they discussed about Vikshit Bharat 2047. Now, one thing is certain for 2047, India has to be on the top ranking tech country in the world. Otherwise, that aspiration will not be met. Now, do we know the big picture? There will be many experts in the room, and even I'm sure the panels will have different views on this. What exactly the AI, cybersecurity, the shape and form of it in 20 years' time is very difficult to call out. Okay, even 3 years' time, we do not know. And globally, there are diversified views. Now, on one extreme, there is a view where the comment is that our biological brain will be augmented. I'm just calling out a scenario that our biological brain will be augmented by nanobots, which will be plugging into the neocortex, and it will help us experience what humanity has not experienced till now. So our biological brain will be plugged into cloud, will extremely powerful computation, and what our biological brain cannot achieve today with that additional computation, it can experience things which humanity has not experienced till date. And there are experts who predict this may happen in a decade's time, not that far away, not 50 years, 100 years down the line. So it's a science fiction scenario. We do not know what is going to happen, but the topic for today is, which is the most relevant one, AI for global good. You have tech companies like Microsoft, Alphabet, whose market cap is more than 3 trillion USD. Okay, the GDP of most of the countries in the world. Okay, so that's the extreme. So how can we leverage AI for global good is the challenge that we are all looking at, and that is the today's topic, and I will probably initiate conversation on that particular theme. So, Mr. Verma, if I can start with you. Okay. Now, in AI, we are all aware of there is a very strong machine learning algorithmic base. How do we prevent bias in algorithmic base so that we are not using that technology to create further marginalization in our society? So how can we make it more inclusive? How can we have the guardrails to cover for that?
This is very interesting question, Mr. Sengupta, if I call you Manojit. First of all, I'm so impressed, intrigued, and honored to be here. I live in the United States in Silicon Valley for the last 20 years, so I have seen the evolutionary change in the field of innovation, IT, whatever you call deep tech, AI, nanotech, and all of that in front of my eyes. I worked at Oracle, Microsoft for long years, and now I run the company called bcentric.ai in Silicon Valley, which is primarily focused on AI-based productivity. So AI for good is all about inclusive growth, productivity, and global change. So I was invited in Vienna, Austria last year on the similar topic, how AI can bring change in the developing economy. And I was mentioning about the same question asked about data bias, or in terms of providing predictive prescriptive intelligence based on machine learning models. Now, from machine learning models, you know that it's all about statistical models, which is going to harvest the data coming in multiple shapes, multiple format, and what we call multimodal models. So if you are harvesting those data, sourcing the data, obviously global data sources are internet. Internet can have the bias based on how the data is curated. So to avoid that, we are looking at the private LLMs. Now the technology has moved on from the data repository to large language model, which is basically trying to have the vector data sources and to create the knowledge graph. The knowledge graph is built on, again, how we interact and train the data sources. So what you're talking about, touching the human bias, brain which could be computed and based on the technology which will be training that. So we are trying to do the supervised training or learning. And based on that, if we are looking at the rapid or retrieve augmented generation, so that means the graph is going to be learning based on the behavioral science of human. So humans are going to be training that, and it will be absolutely eliminating any bias in the initial stage. So if I'm coming to, let's say, any business organization, so it cannot have the same recipe for the data which is being delivered on the internet. So we'll have to harvest the data or curate the data for that organization to eliminate any bias on that. At the same time, let's say if you're looking at some of the technology which is going to replace or repetitive task elimination, in the US, we are going to produce humanoids. Now, you all have heard about humanoids is basically performing the repetitive task in form of humans. Now, is it going to replace we as a human being? Answer is simply no. Because humanoids are going to replace those tasks which is done by heavy lifting machines. We don't want to do the heavy lifting machines. Humanoids will be doing it. If I'm looking at some of the mundane tasks like, people running around or people doing the, all of those mundane tasks can be done easily by humanoids. Now, Elon Musk is going to produce thousands of humanoids by 2026. Now, that's the change we are going to bring from Silicon Valley in the US. And you'll not be surprised that the large organizations like Kirloskar Group, Jindal Group, large manufacturing group in India, even though human resources are abundant, but they will not shy away from using those because that gives us the scale, that gives us the productivity, that gives us the competitive edge. Those humans which you are taking away from the shop floor, they can do much more qualitative work for us. And that's what we are here to guide, train, and provide you the skills how we can transform our change in the business paradigm shift. So we are the change agent. I always say that we are the catalyst. You have seen dot-com burst in 2000. You have seen the internet has come in, and the same thing has come in AI, which is AI economy. So AI economy is here to grow, and people are betting on AI for the business goal, for the business productivity. So we are now looking at the banking, insurance. Eurobank is here. They will tell you how this process automation can be enabled by AI. And the same token, we can go on and on. So I'll probably pass on to the next panelist to contribute and add on to that.
So we will come back to this particular point of view, productivity and the nature of jobs. Okay, but before that, if I can come to Mr. Jain. Okay, uh, basically we are talking about innovation and speed of innovation. Now, when you are going after speed, you may take your attention from the check and balances in the process. Okay, now if we are not very diligent about the check and balances in institutionalizing AI, then it can have a very, very serious impact instead of like the data consistency and all. If I look at the bias that may be creeping there. So how do we balance these two? The speed of innovation vis-a-vis all the checkpoints, the balances that we require.
Wonderful. Well, good evening, everybody. This is mic work. You all can hear me, I'm sure. Yes? As they say, the best is usually kept towards the end. In India, we tend to believe that, right? So this event, pick up the mic. It works? Okay, great. Thank you. So I'm glad that we have our event at the end of the conference, and hopefully some of you here will have a take-home value and be inspired to learn something from this panel and take it forward. What I'm going to do is a combination to address what you're talking about, and we got two more panelists to go further. But I also want to put into perspective. I'm an entrepreneur, and I want to put things into perspective which can have some value for you to think about. Why technology? Why AI? What can it mean for you? I'm sure that How many of you out here have used some form of AI, Chat GPT or whatever? Wow, look at that. You know, they say in India, 92% of the people, they have used Chat GPT, not the entire country, but we're looking at people who are in the corporate world, right? They've used some form of AI. So, which is great. And that's what, you know, I live in the Bay Area as well. And I can tell you the time for India arrived several years ago, and it's going to be only getting brighter day by day. But I'm going to share some important facts with you. Firstly, I have a question for all of you, not on the panel. And the question is, what is common between, let's say, Google, Meta, India Stack, NVIDIA, Perplexity, many of these companies, right? So, anyone take a shot? What's common amongst them? Come on, audience. Yes, please. They all have their? Okay. All right. That's great. Of course, they're all continuing to invest. But what is important is for you and me out here, that they're all have impacted over the last very many years. They continue to impact. And I think, Mr. Verma, you would argue the case that they would impact even multiple times more when we start looking at the next several years to come. And Mr. Sen Gupta, Mr. Moderator, that is your question, 20 years. We can't even talk about 1 year, leave us at 20 years. Because things are happening every single day. Now, there's some important aspects which I want to share with you. When we start looking at the West, United States particularly, there's a lot of money that's going into build of AI technology, right? But AI is not the only technology, and you and I know that, right? Technology has been impacting us as far back as we can think, anybody in this room. Think about 1860s, when UK took a lead in building the railroad network, right? At that time, they were spending about 15% of the GDP on putting that infrastructure together. Contrast to that, today, 2025, we are so enamored by the amount of money that's going into AI, etc. It's only about 3 to 4% of the US GDP, what's happening in the US. And if you take a global picture, it's much less than that. So as a result, we have not seen anything as yet. Lot more to happen, and therefore, some of you, my young friends in the room, I'm hoping that some of you will aspire to be entrepreneurs. It's a great opportunity. But it's for you to decide where do you want to play in this game, right? And for that, you have to learn. So this panel is a beginning for you to know what the potential is, what can you do with it. We're missing our friend from Cyprus. They've come all the way from Cyprus, a big delegation, I believe, and they're all looking at how do we collaborate with India. So in the Western world, you know, this investment being put by companies individually. Highly competitive, competing for resources, everybody is locking in. Great, competition is always good. But just think about it. How many of you here recognize the company called Intel? Okay, so quite a few of you. As you all, some of you may not know, you're too young, but when the PC revolution happened in the 1980s, right? Which is the foundation for all of us here today in this room, right? Intel provided us the biggest acceleration by turning their chip building cycle from 36 months to 18 months to 9 months, etc. Crashed like that. That company is today in trouble because it did not graduate quick enough to recognize what the trends are becoming. And something which doesn't happen very often in the US is happening. US government is investing $10 billion into that company. And just this morning news, right? This morning news, NVIDIA is investing $5 billion into Intel and becoming the largest stakeholder. Why is this significant? It is significant because technology, please welcome. You are missing here. Come. Technology never dies, right? In spite of all the automation, computerization, we still continue to use our good friend, right? We still use the paper and pen. So the point I'm getting to is, Mr. Sengupta, that when we start looking at India today from a collaboration perspective, from an innovation perspective, India stands out the best. How many of you in this room are familiar with India Stack? Some of you? Okay. You can put your hand higher. You're the brilliant ones. India Stack is the best example in the world of collaboration and innovation. It's transforming the country. I represent a company called RS Software, headquartered in Calcutta, which built all of the payment stack of the India Stack. How many of you use UPI here? UPI. Almost everybody, right? UPI was built by RS Software from Calcutta. The eastern region of India has many bright and good moments as they happen. So it's not only Indian Chamber of Commerce that comes from Calcutta, also your entire digital stack, which makes your life every day for the payments, comes from Calcutta. The world is learning about innovation, collaboration from India, which is why friends like you have come all the way from Cyprus. Right? People like you are visiting India as often as you can. People like me visit India as often as we can. So there is a huge future in this innovation collaboration. But when you start thinking, where are we going from here? Many of you may not be aware, in February 2026, there's a major conference taking place in India. It's called the Global AI Impact Summit, right? February of 2026. If you think about it, maybe just another normal conference. But no, the academicians, industrialists, innovators from across the world are coming to India to learn how the innovation collaboration model works. To address your question about checks and balances, I can only tell you as an entrepreneur, when it comes to innovation, you never have checks and balances. Only which stops you from going further is the money. The investors stop you because you got to have a business case to get the money to innovate, right? If it is left purely to innovators, they would keep going at it, apply the technology, learn from there, keep going at it. This is what I see happening with AI. AI is highly market driven. As Mr. Verma, you were mentioning, there are so very many use cases for which the models have got to be built. And then you start thinking about the controversy about the LLMs and the small business models, small language models, right? There's a bet that it'll be the SLMs which will actually be more far-reaching and be more effective. With the amount of investment that's going on, people are saying it can take up to $1 billion to train LLM. Just this morning news again, DeepSeek is saying within $249 million, they can train models. India is going even further. And that is what has been India's advantage, is to focus on economics. Entire digital payment infrastructure was built, what I would say, at a minuscule percentage of what it costs to build a similar infrastructure in the Western world. So we have many positives going on for India in the field of AI. When you think about 2022, when the world started to talk and know more about AI, ChatGPT was launched, 100 million users came up in a few weeks. Never happened in the history of technology. 100 million users within a matter of weeks, right? And people used to talk about billions. Now what? They talk about trillions. You talk about $3 trillion of market cap. It actually is now $4 trillion plus. Who is entering the $4 trillion club? India's GDP, right? One company. So there is lots to be done. And there's one comment which I'm going to keep it up for now before I hear the other panelists, because I'm privileged to get one more opportunity to come before you all at the end of the panel. But here is a range of thoughts that I've tried to provide you from a macro level picture, from a business perspective, entrepreneurial perspective, and all that is happening in the world of AI. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jain. And Dimitris, if you have taken your breath and settled in, probably I will come to you. We have started the discussion on leveraging AI for global good, okay? Talking about an inclusive society and ensuring that the ethical aspect is taken care of. And there's no, marginalization and other aspects are taken care of, okay? Now, as you are a part of G100 advisory panel, okay? And if we look at the Human Development Index across this portfolio of countries, how do you think AI can broadly be leveraged to improve those HDI?
So first of all, thank you for inviting me, and I think I'll thank all of the audience who's actually in this room and not in the other room having their coffee. And I think it's very tempting, right? Always when you talk about technologies. So first of all, let me start. I think first fundamentally demystifying for people what AI is all about, right? When we're talking about leveraging AI to help humanity, right? So I think I will concur with the previous speaker when he says that AI today is mostly market driven, right, by companies, and that sometimes creates hype, right? Buy the latest chip, buy the latest GPU, buy this, buy that, right? Invest in this type of LLM, one technology versus another. But in reality, right, we need to think about one thing in simplicity. I think, let me just ask you one question. Do you know what happened in the year 2004? Greece won the euro. Since then, we have had more than 18,000 times increase of data that we actually interact with, right? The last time I checked, the day still has 24 hours, the week still has 7 days, right? And that's simple mathematics. So we humans, we are bombarded with an incoming set of data that it's increasing and increasing and increasing exponentially every day that we basically wake up, right? However, our working hours are timed. You can work as less as 8 hours a day and as many as 23 hours a day, right? But the work won't go away. So the only way that you can actually circumvent or bridge this is by harnessing technology to actually help you. Now, we're fortunate that we have a technology called AI, which splits into subdomains that can really help us, right? I mean, I'm not going to go talk about each individual one, either this is computer vision or robotic process assistance or whatever else it is. I'm just going to say that in practice, if we can leverage a technology that can help us do the things that are more administrative, more bureaucratic, right, that can really take away a large amount of the workload from people, right, and give them that quality time so that they can actually start focusing on what matters, that solves one of the biggest problems we have today, called stress, right? Most of us, right, or people around us suffer from, health-related diseases that are inspired or, exacerbated because of the stress. And it's simply because you cannot handle the workload that you have. So I think, first of all, we fundamentally need to review and look at the mindset at which we look at, artificial intelligence, and look at it at one side, it's all about, creating productivity, but at the same time, optimizing, right, the work that needs to be done and handled, right? And on the other side, it's all about thinking about how do we create value for ourselves and how we can actually capture that value. And I think these two elements, right, can then dictate where we use, where we invest, what we do, right, and how we leverage it. So from my perspective, I think what we need to think about is, and I know that many people are really, paranoid or are inspired about, bigger LLMs, more parameters, right, billions of users and data points, right? But the answer isn't set, right? I mean, we can do things with small language learning models. We do other things with LLMs, right? And there's other technologies out there. But I think the most important part is, how do we actually start creating a roadmap that will help us humans gain the necessary skills that we have so that we can harness this technology? And when I'm saying this, it's not just about, right, the educated people or the engineers or the people who have done STEMs. It's also about, those people who are retired or pensioners who actually should be able to use, basic things, right? Maybe asking, for example, an AGI tool like a ChatGPT or a Copilot, how do you do this translation? So I think there's a fundamental rethinking of how we create this lifelong learning education path that helps us take away with us, right, all the people, right, cross from all the way from junior school to pension, so that they can benefit from the technology. And it's the same thing with kids, right? I think we often, I mean, people ask me, one day says, what do you think is the biggest skill that we need to develop for the future? I said to them, critical thinking, right? Because people, right, now you're asking people and you're saying to them, give me an answer for that. And I see students doing it. They go ask ChatGPT, they get an answer back, then they go reply their test and it goes. And I say, that's wrong. And you know why that's wrong? Because it's okay for humans to learn that they don't have to give an answer every second. So we need to start learning and teaching ourselves, right, that we need to rethink. We need to learn, unlearn, and we need to really use our critical thinking judgment to do that. So I think that to use artificial intelligence and leverage it for humans, we first of all need to really, start understanding that we need to harness the fear we have that, AI will take jobs away, AI will really make us all redundant, right? And really understand that there will be a phase where we will actually have to co-design some jobs or look at them as an expanded version where we can actually design and really adjust the roles, and at the same time embrace lifelong learning that will help it. And I'll give you a very simple example. And this is a funny one, right? So those who are bored and not listening. So a few months ago, my mom, she's actually 76. She asked me and she said, "What is this thing, ChatGPT and AI? I hear on the TV every day and everybody's talking." I said, let me tell you something. Do you know that you can actually get a recipe of a Greek dish called moussaka, and you can actually ask it to tell you how many other nations have exactly the same dish? She said, "Really?" So I showed her how to do that query. Then she asked me one more question, and I helped her. A week later, I walked at home, and I saw my dad was actually fuming, and my mom was actually using ChatGPT to help translate and communicate with two of our maids. One is from Nepal, one is from Sri Lanka. So I said to my dad, "I see you're frustrated." He said, "You know what? Your mom now has a PhD." I said to him, "How comes?" She says, "Well, every time I tell her something, she runs a prompt and she tells me 10 reasons why I'm wrong," right? And that's a 76-year-old. So imagine, right? Imagine that if slowly we start thinking about the learning pillars we need to build in society, right, in industries, how we are going to really help humans harness artificial intelligence. So everywhere we go, you go into healthcare, you go into every industry, you see people are really worried about how we're going to really, harness it. So what I'm saying is essentially something very simple. We start from the basics. We need to help people understand that it's okay to be afraid of the unknown, but together we will work together to create, a clearer path. And that's part of what I do on the G100s, working with people to really, help create that roadmap. At the same time, on the policy level, it's okay for us to have those decisions where we start influencing, saying that we need a bridge, right? We cannot really get workers that are ready to harness AI today, but at the same time, we can't just touch the button. Sorry, what's your name? We can't just touch the button of Divesh and tell them, hey, you're now a prompting engineer or you're an AI engineer, right? So this takes time, right? So we need to build in, right, the right methodologies, the right policies, the right incentives to really get, those people above right there. Because I have a feeling that, we could end up eventually, right, in 10 years' time, having a 3-day working day, right, a working week, because these technologies can really help you take away a lot of this information and data that today our minds can't process. And remember, 18,000 times the increase of data since at least, right, 2004. So going back to the basics, I think it's about really helping, really help at the level of the citizen, at the level of the co-worker, at the level of the pensioner, create that type of awareness that all types of learnings need to come through. At the company level, we need to also understand that we need to go through the hype, break the hype, and really not talk just about one use case will do that, you adopt and you move, right? But it's really rethinking how are you going to create value. At the level, for example, of the industries, is for us to really see how are we going to leverage from all of this, right? So again, I'm going to say something contradictory here, but last time I checked, an average data center needs about 1.4 million gallons of water to cool down, right? So when you're building mega data centers that are going to have, leveraging AI, that means that we need a lot of water to cool that down. And that water, if you don't have a plant, right, or something giving you all of that water, you take it from the environment, from lakes, from seas, from desalination plants. But that creates another climate issue. So the reality isn't that AI is for everything. The reality is that until we get to the point where we could leverage AI at mass scale, we will have to be somehow selective, right? And to slow down the rate at which we are basically adopting this technology and slowly create, I think, a super highway that will take us all together to a place where we can leverage this technology and have 98%, right, of diagnostic accuracy, which we'll get on AI, better treatment plans, right? But we have to design a system so that we go on the journey all together. And that's also what we do on the G100s. We talk about, togetherness, collectiveness, and all together. So thanks.
Thank you. So Divyesh, I will probably take a different spin to this conversation with you. We are talking about innovation, utilizing, leveraging AI. We are talking about technology investment. So there are some big boys out there who are heavily investing, countries who are heavily investing. So how do you think a startup in a, say, country like us, okay, can leverage the global ecosystem that is coming up and be more innovative with all the resource constraints that they will face on the way? Okay, so how do you suggest that the startup should be looking at it?
Okay, thank you very much, ICC, for giving us opportunity to present this platform to share our ideas about AI and startup. Startup is nowadays competing with the large organizations, as you know. How many unicorn startup are there? Anybody is having answer? How many unicorn startup are there in India? Anybody knows about? Okay, so I'm having one interesting figure, and startup is came after the COVID, right? So after COVID, startup, and it is a buzzword you can say nowadays, because I like to say that we have 120 plus unicorn startup in India, and it is a big number. And we are at the third place in Asia. uh, with the pace of a startup, we are growing. So definitely, we are a startup is competing with the enterprise level. That is the another story that the big enterprises take over the startup after successfully built up. So yeah, but startup is really doing great nowadays, and because they don't need to rely on the bureaucracy, they have the fast processes, they have the fast execution, they are really investing on problem solving. Okay, they are heavily know what problem they are solving specifically. So that is the really a good about the startup, and they are adapting the latest technology, and they are really strong and they are providing really a strong team and good culture, which is really help them to grow faster. And nowadays, it is not taking a decades to build a large enterprise. As you know, there are many startup is already disrupting a industry. You know about the Perplexity, yeah? So it has already disrupted the search engine. You already know about the Zerodha. It is already disrupted the fintech. You already know about the BYD. It has already disrupted the automotive industry, which is built a decades old. And also the SpaceX. We never imagined that the space organization can become at this level. So yeah, startup is really doing good, and nowadays it won't take that much of time to reach at the big enterprise level.
Thank you, thank you. Sujit, now I will come to you, and taking what Dimitris just mentioned, that there has been an 18,000-fold increase in data from 2004 to 2025, correct? Now, so much of data all around us, and to protect the data, different countries have come up with different standards. Okay, GDPR, DPDP in India. So when we are creating a open platform, when we are talking about data sharing across the border, what kind of challenges we anticipate?
Okay. Thanks, Manjit. And I'm really honored to be part of this esteemed panelist. The discussion so far has been very interesting, right? Heard of aspects which I haven't heard before, right? But going back to the question, right? In today's world, we used to always say that the goal today is data. Everyone is after data. That is what the organization, the crown jewel of an organization is, right? So essentially, if you look at the way the transformation of or the innovation that is happening from an AI perspective, is a lot about having a platform, having an innovation platform where data can be shared, right? And specifically, technologies that are built around industries, sectors requires kind of platform like this, right? If I have to give a very classic example, right? Look at an automotive industry where the technology is with the startups, okay, who are building innovative technologies. But if an automotive car maker wants to move into an autonomous car, right? The technology that needs to empower it comes from the tech stack, comes from the startup, and the data required for that is with the automotive organizations, right? And now when you look at with a small set of data that goes into the models, okay, there can be some level of information that can be used to build an autonomous platform. But essentially, if this has to really mature, you need more organizations to contribute to it, right? A lot of different kinds of data sets that can be curated, enriched, and that is what will make the models much more effective. Now, this being an vertical specific or sector specific, right? This could span across multiple countries, right? Where data could come in. There could be a uniform platform that could be built that organizations can leverage. Okay, so this is the model that essentially will be adopted in the longer run. But one of the reasons that we see that from a friction point of view, right, is the sharing of data and security associated with it. And that's a very large topic to talk about. But just to give a perspective, right, in terms of how it happens, right? Today, in the world of AI, data can be in any format. It can be a structured data, unstructured, it could be images, videos, anything can contribute to information that can be relevant to run on automated platform. Now, in this scenario, identifying data, making sure that there are no IP information that is going, there is no PI information or FI information that is going, it becomes much more difficult. Okay. The bigger challenge in the industry from a technology point of view is that data is scattered across many places. It's not residing in one place, different formats. How do you create a data lineage? How you tie across them with a data sharing platform, specifically when it goes to a party where, multiple vendors have access to it, it becomes really difficult. Ring fencing them, building governance around it, right? And following the local law of the land, right? One aspect of it. The other aspect of it is to make sure that there is no data leakage happening. There is no sensitive information that goes into the platform which someone with a malicious intent or someone with a good intent, right, could reuse and reproduce that could harm an individual's identity. So essentially, the process that most organizations follow today is identifying the data, where it is located, classification of that, creating a data lineage, and then tying that up with the AI pipelines that are getting built to make sure that there is this ring fencing that is happening that controls the amount of information that goes, which is directly relevant from an innovation platform point of view, and critical sensitive information that are still kept within a single limited domain. Thanks.
Thank you. Alak, I will come back to you again. And again, taking a different spin to this conversation. I think in one of the previous discussions, it was mentioned that there is a fear of missing out. Everybody is investing without knowing exactly how that is going to benefit. Okay. If I now look at an enterprise, obviously they will look for ROI. Okay. Now, with so much of investment coming into this technology, AI, generative AI, and all these machine learning technologies, now, how do you think this investment and the return on investment can be sustained in a competitive world without sacrificing your profitability when it comes to a enterprise?
Excellent question. So let's understand the complete transition. Our panelists touched upon AI use cases on a very generic format. ChatGPT is really impacted the common man, right? Now, when we're talking about business, B2B scenario, this is a different world. And business transition is happening in terms of 4 pillars, what we call Kaplan Balance Scorecard. The Balance Scorecard talks about customer, suppliers, then internal resources, and then talks about financial shareholders. So if you understand 4 pillars or 4 quadrants of Balance Scorecard, all business leaders today are very apprehensive about using the AI on that. Because as other members talked about, data is gold. Without data, AI cannot perform. If data is not cleaned, data is not going to perform and give you predictive guidance. So obviously, data is key. Data is gold, and data is the fuel for the business. So how do we really compete on trust? AI economy has already come to stay. So we always talk about AI is not artificial anymore. It is augmented intelligence. So in our view, coming from enterprise business world, from Oracle has transitioned and always played in the space of B2B, impacting businesses. And there where growth is, right? Business moves slow, but when they move very fast. And that is what is happening today. I am talking to large business enterprise here, naming a few like Kirloskar of the world, then talking about Jindal Group of the world, and they are really entrepreneur for India economy growth. If they move with AI, see what will happen. They will shake the global economy because that's the power they have at this point in time. Because well-diversified business, they have huge amount of data coming from customer. They are 5th generation, Kirloskar family person I was talking about. They are 5th generation in the business. You talk about compressors, you talk about engines, you talk about pumping sets, all about that. Who is not impacted by that business? Same thing is Jindal Group. Same thing is Ambani Group, Adani Group, you name it, right? So let's touch upon AI coming in for good for profitability. Now, if I'm harvesting enterprise data is now lying into enterprise system of records, which is financial system, customer relationship management systems, supply chain logistics systems. Then we are talking about all operational control, manufacturing, you name it. So now if we harvest that system of transaction data, blend it with systems of engagement data coming in together. Now, somebody talked about unstructured, semi-structured data, which is basically 70% of data is coming from that part of the domain, which is unstructured data coming in from machine. Machine is emitting data in terms of manufacturing, sensors, device control, and what have you. Similarly, if I'm looking at conversation happening, customer is interacting with salesperson, customer is interacting with suppliers, customer is talking about all of that, and the channel has become very pervasive. You're no longer giving a feedback. It's all going on to the viral chain on the social media, right? So customer journey is completely transformed. And we need to be very careful in terms of how this balance scorecard on customer is getting impacted by AI. Now, AI journey begins from customer onboarding. How do we deal with that? So now AI is giving you a lot of behavioral pattern mapped based on the customer touch point. Now, if that intelligence is given to the person who is dealing with customer, guess what will happen? It's very personalized, the interaction taking place. It can be given example in retail. If you're going to a showroom and if you're already known by salesperson who you are, what kind of background you have, what kind of capacity you have, and in terms of your history, salesperson knows you well in advance, obviously interaction will happen differently. Recommendation will happen differently. I was talking to the bank, international bank. Now, if customer is coming to open account beforehand itself, if they know who am I, what they call KYC, they can deal with them very effectively and without any friction, account is open in, let's say, less than an hour, just with the validation of KYC. KYC is coming with NFC interface. That means just keep your phone in front. Now all the data is captured, customer is all validated, and now account is opened. When customers start having the transaction and interaction, automatically intelligence becomes manifold. Customer becomes predictable. Now system is also prescribing the action. So guess where the transition is happening? That means all repetitive task is eliminated and we are able to improve the productivity with the customer and the vendor relationship. Same token, if I go to the manufacturing, on the manufacturing scale, you have the supply chain. The supplier is supplying the raw material. You are assembling it in the shop floor or producing it based on all your details. If I'm implementing trained humanoids or robots, which is performing the repetitive task, it could be done in 1/10 of the cost. Is it not wise enough to reduce the cost through predictive intelligence? Who is not going to do it? If I was talking to Mr. Abhyuday Jindal or if I'm talking to Aman Kirloskar, they're saying, Alok, you are making a lot of sense. We are not here just to support the large population just for the sake of it. We are here to do the productive business across the globe. On the same token, the same human being who are doing the lift operation, remember those days where the lift operator used to be in the elevator and that person was going up and down. What happened to those people? On the same analogy, I don't want people to do from one point to table and another point to do that. That job can be taken away by humanoids coming in India in next 6 months' time. If Tesla has come here already with massive showroom from Silicon Valley, what Tesla is promising to you? Car would be driven by computer. You don't need to drive car anymore. I am already experiencing last 6 years. My car is driven automatically. If I press my cell phone, car comes out of my garage and all my personalized setup is done. Car takes me to point A to point B with same auto lane changing. Now Waymo has come in with driverless car. That means you press where you wanted to go, the car without any driver will come in front of you, door opens and interface in front of you with based on computer will validate who you are, where you want to go. Door is getting locked, seat belt is fastened, car starts moving. Do we need driver of the car anymore? Think about it. On the same token, if I'm giving an analogy of internal resources, humans are performing all the tasks within the balanced scorecard of organization. So they will be performing based on the augmented intelligence which we are going to provide. Who is augmenting that intelligence? All the panelists are intelligent here, coming from the AI domain. We don't expect Mr. Jindal or Mr. Kirloskar to be trained on AI. They are on focused on their business goals. They need to grow across the globe, right? And we need to enable them to grow across the globe. They wanted to expand to Cyprus. They wanted to expand to the Eastern Europe. How technology can embed so that their growth levers are manifold, and that is AI for good. So I am now living in the global village, even though I'm based in the Silicon Valley, but I'm traveling across the globe almost every 3 months. And my goal is to not only bring change, but to bring catalyst role so that fast to change, fast to move. Time to market is now, and that is where the AI is going to change the economy. So the transition is from knowledge economy to AI economy. US has already moved on. US is thinking about is outcome-based economy. You deliver the value. You talked about ROI. What is the ROI we are promising? If AI is now a state of current state is, let's say, X. If I can do X plus 20%, that is the promise you want. AI will give you prescriptive simulator. AI is simulating your return on investment. How much return on investment you will want? 20 to 30%. You do 5 prescribed activities, 20% ROI. That is called AI-based task. If you do the prescriptive guidance, like doctor prescribes, 5 things to do, your remedy is given, right? If you don't do, your ailments continues, and that is where we are thinking about. So with the paucity of time, I can see that where the whole trend is going. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. I think probably, Dimitri, you want to make a comment?
I wanted to add two comments just to simplify it. I wanted to add two comments just to simplify it for the audience, right? So the return, always when we look at return of investment, I think the guidance I would give you right now is think about how you can actually create that productivity. Start by saying, we're going to do something 25% faster, and you're going to see how that translates and impacts your cash flow. And the second thing, and I think this is universal for everyone, is one of the fundamentals advantages that AGI will bring to you is personalization, right? So if you're in banking, think about how you can actually give that personalization to all of your customers. They've done it through wealth tech. If you're a lawyer, do the same thing. If you're a doctor, do the same thing. And that, if you measure it, right, how does that personalization create better customer experience, better customer sentiment, better customer retention, and you actually start improving on a yearly basis? Say that you would like to actually start with a 15% improvement. Keep measuring that, and that will take you forward. What we've seen is that AI can give us scale that we have never imagined before. Now, the question is, where do you create the balance, right? You don't want to create a super personalized, like, let's say, application that, starts taking in millions of requests if you're a legal firm, because even when they're filtered, right, you won't have enough lawyers to be able to handle them. So you have to always look at the balance. But I would go, think of how personalization can be adjusted to your business model. Think of how productivity can be tailored in 1, 2, 3 processes. Measure increments of 15%. And what you will see is that you will be able to really exponentially increase your business. This is what we're seeing, and I like the answer before where we said there are 80 unicorns, at least more than 80 unicorns here in India. What that means is that you have at least 120. So you have at least 120 companies that, if they operate correctly, they can be a size of a Google, of a Tesla, of somebody else. That's how they started, right? Now, you have one advantage here in India. You have the world's largest AI-capable workforce skill set, right? That's one of the biggest competitive advantages. Use it wisely.
Thank you. I think with that, we will have to wrap up the session. But before we go, on a light note, I think even for audience, for people out there, there is a question that is top of everyone's head. Will AI trigger job loss or new job creation? So I will probably ask the panelists to raise hand. Job loss, overall job loss in the economy. I mean, just yes or no, Mr. Jain.
So, go ahead. Go ahead. After you. Go ahead.
Okay. So if you do repetitive tasks, you must need to upgrade yourself, okay? Because if you are repeating, AI will there to do the same thing for you. But if you are a problem solver, AI cannot replace you. Thank you.
No, I think my question was for the overall economy, will there be net number of jobs out there, say 10 years from today? Will it increase or will it decrease? Yes, no.
Yeah, definitely, as I mentioned, repetitive job will be decreased.
Okay.
But yeah.
I don't know.
I think there's time we need to conclude.
Yeah. So just yes,
So-
just asking yes or no.
So if you look at the last 30 years, lots of innovations have happened. Jobs have never gone down eventually. You just need to make sure you are in the category of having retrained yourself, ready for the new workforce if you want to work and make things happen. There's what we have already entered the intelligent economy world, and that's really where India's future belongs. So all of you are here for this GBS session. On a positive note, I can tell you is that India is here to lead, and the world is going to benefit from India's participation in AI. All the best. Okay.
Jobs will increase.
Every disruption has brought more opportunities. It's just that you have to stay relevant to the technology.
So we'll end with that note. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Before you leave the panel, may I please request Mr. Amitabh Ray to please felicitate the panelists. A group photo first? Yeah, a group photo first, since everybody's lined up. Mr. Ray?